This is Andrea with Parking Lot Debrief. Okay, friends, I'm here with my friend, Jose Peralez, and been a long time coming. Been my buddy. I needed on here. And yeah, short intro. What do you feel like? Whatever you feel like sharing with people.
So hi, I'm excited to be here. Especially because I was in the discussion with you on trying to
How to
get,
do this.
yeah. And we've had parking lot debriefs together without the podcast, and so I'm excited to be here. Um, Known you for a really long time. I've been an interpreter. I've been a professional certified working interpreter for 13 years. And I can't believe it's been that long and that short. Um, I work in a variety of settings. The main place that I don't really even have a main place. I'm not even going to say that. I consider myself a generalist, and so I don't necessarily specialize in anything. It's like if you were to look at us like surgeons, I'm a general surgeon. I'm not something specific. And so um that's what I do. Yeah.
How did we meet?
We met at an assignment. The consumer who actually, funny enough, became my best friend,
Nice.
and we're still friends to this day. We met at an assignment where it was very hot
It was, and we were outside.
outside, and we just clicked like
We
that.
did.
There was something about you working, me working, and we just like understood each other, what we needed, and we just meshed really well. Even the consumer noticed it and wanted us to continue working with them in their classes,
Yep.
and things like that. And we met there, and we've just been working together since then, in a variety of different settings.
Literally.
Yeah, not just that setting, but like so many others. Um,
And we've moved away and we've been together at conferences and then we see each other again. We Marco Polo. So I imagine many people can relate with that, that you find an interpreter team where you're like, eh, yeah, and we understand each other. And I think it was the sentence you and I were hot outside and we're both like, are you sweating your ass off? Is everything wet? Are you hot right now? Because I'm so hot. And like we just laughed of how sweaty we were.
Yeah, yeah, and we just connected
Moment.
that way. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But
It's the best.
that was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago. Crazy. Time flies by.
And we're still only like 25. It's bizarre.
I know. I look so good for 25.
But we wanted to do this podcast and we couldn't nail down a topic specifically.
Not
And
really.
so I think we're going to do a true parking lot debrief, which I wish we had just done an assignment together or something. Like I wish we had a true like assignment. But we have assignments we can pull from and or just we talk on Marco Polo or on text about hard jobs or hard situations or literally about everything, interpreting and life. So we're going to be a true parking lot debrief here.
And it's funny, like hearing you say that, it's not even just like jobs that we work on, because we've presented workshops together.
Right. That
And
too.
so even some of the things that are said during the workshops that we present about the topics that we present about, like even some of those things, like I'm now running through my head of like, oh yeah, I can't believe that happened. And yeah, that did happen.
Yes.
Stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. Where do we start? Like, just even because I thought about that. What if you and I did our workshop in a podcast? But it's kind of difficult. But the essence of our workshop was um, most interpreters, for the most part, can watch sign language and say words.
For the most part,
For
yeah.
the most part, like words can come out. Do they sound great? Sometimes, like at a decent level, people can get the message across for the most part.
For the most part.
And that was like the basis of our workshop is you have to come in with that. You have to come in with some understanding of sign language that you see and you can say words. And then we were working on with people to get from that good to better, good to great. Um, and we just had those bugaboo words that we can run through now just because I haven't talked about this with anybody because they drive me insane. And we can swear on this show. So FYI.
Fantastic. I love it.
Because we made a whole roster of English words that if a deaf person signs this word, stop fucking saying these English words.
Yeah, yeah. And I can already think of like the very first one that stems right out of the bat is hello, 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 hello. When a deaf person signs hello, 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 they're not saying hello, hello, hello 1,000 times. But we do,
Maybe they are
but we
sometimes.
sometimes, sure.
Right.
But it's not native to English.
Yes.
It's not native to English. We don't say hello 10,000 times when we're greeting an audience or we're greeting anybody
Two
unless you're
people.
RuPaul. Yeah, unless you're RuPaul and you're coming into the workroom and
Right.
hello 3 times. Like, I mean, by all means, go for it. But we don't typically go into that with that sort of salutation.
And that's the biggest thing. And when Kirk and Sarah were on and they talked about working into English with deaf professionals, we have to remember to listen to English as normal human beings. Listen to your sister. Listen to your friends who are not interpreters. What do people say? Does your does your dad say true biz? I mean, unless your dad is deaf.
God,
Do
yes.
because I will say I'm now at the point where I know sign language. I've known sign language longer than I did not know sign language. I've tipped that point. So it's been in my brain and vocabulary longer. So I'm like, do people say that? Like we forget what hearing world people really say, and they don't say true biz.
They don't say true biz. And what's funny is that I'm very fortunate that in some of the places that I work alongside the interpreter training program that one, I attended, two, I taught at, and three, still work with interns from that specific group. And so I'm around ASL students a lot. And
Which is
I
a good refresher and reminder all the time.
absolutely, absolutely. But
Yes.
one of the things that I think happens often is that when we are students, we fall in love with what it is that we're working on, and then we try to mesh these two things together like oil and water, and that doesn't always happen. And so one of those things is like borrowing from the ASL lexicon for things like true biz and trying to force it into the English lexicon where we as a community understand it, and that's great. But
Use
out
it there.
yeah, use it there. But people don't understand what true biz means. One of the things that I've like really noticed is when we say things like that, 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 that. That is something that is used in the ASL lexicon. However, that is starting
In
to
the hearing world, I
slowly
think it is.
it's starting to transition into the hearing world. And so a lot more people are comfortable with saying, yeah, that, that. Um, and so that's something that's interesting of how languages borrow from each other and how they become just a regular of regular use in the lexicon that they are trying to communicate in.
Right. And we need to say this caveat. We do this as well. We
Hmm.
make these quote mistakes as well. These are things that drive me nuts about myself. Andrea, if you say the word cherish one more time, and I immediately like think of something else. Like I know it's a word that drives me nuts. And maybe it means that. And I'm not saying we never use these words. Right.
Curious.
A deaf person's very curious all the time. Currently.
Very.
But they also wonder and they also are going, hey, what do you think? Or we just
I have a
have to,
question.
I have a question. And my biggest tip is if we heard a hearing person say, so I have a question for you, we may say question. We may
Uh,
sign like, hey, question, but we probably may sign, hey, I'm curious. So I was wondering, hey, so if that's reversed, if a deaf person signs that, we should say what we normally hear for what we sign. That'll be
you know,
fun doing.
in Spanish, we have
Yes.
when there's a question that is written, we have a question mark at the beginning and then we have a question mark at the end. And I think that kind of shows how deaf people are prefacing the fact that they're asking a question. This is your question mark at the beginning.
Ooh, I love that.
And sometimes they will even end it with a question mark at the end. And
Right.
so that's how I kind of envision that. And I guess maybe it helps the fact that I'm a heritage speaker of Spanish.
Yes.
And so maybe that helps out a little bit, but yeah, deaf people don't, hearing people don't say, I was curious, or
Some do.
some
Sometimes,
do.
again, preface, we always, but we need to let go of this sign means this word, basically, is what we're saying.
Right.
Drives me bananas.
Gene Kelly, or a researcher, because it's in Gene Kelly's books, would say that that's working at the lexical level. You're looking for word sign, word sign, word sign, word sign, and trying to find those.
Yes.
And we need to,
Versus,
yes, we need to look at it holistically and in an idiomatic sort of way. So yeah, yeah.
but that's, yeah. So that was our workshop that lasts a couple hours. And basically, we have fun with it because it's good to make fun of ourselves. And this in no way is saying we do a poor job and we don't represent deaf people well. We still are getting points across. It's, we got to sound better, folks. We just got to sound better.
Especially in the settings that we're in, because I
Yes.
mean, and that's the other thing, is that you have to be versatile in the settings that you're in, because so often, I mean, I go to, like, just the other day, doing a funeral versus going to a doctor's appointment, going to a parent teacher conference. All of those are different ways of talking. And then I did a staff meeting, and then having that register, like employee talking to employee or coworker talking to coworker, and then if two coworkers are really best buddies and they like to like throw the
Totally
guns,
different.
completely different. And so we need to be able to switch that at the drop of a hat. And it can
That's
be,
a right, a language skill, but I also feel like it's a let me feel this room out
yeah,
skill because can you read the body language of two coworkers, spilling the tea with each other versus, oh, a boss is coming and I must behave. You're not gonna say the thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of dynamics that are involved in that, especially when it comes to like supervisor versus an employee. So like then now we have a hierarchy, right? And so we don't want to say the wrong thing. And maybe the deaf individual wants to say something like that, but we also need to keep in mind about cultural mediation
right,
and what fits in those types
right.
of what fits in those types of settings.
We talk about that in the workshop too. Maybe we'll do that workshop someday.
I
Again,
think
it's
we should.
fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it was a lot of fun.
moving on. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, so I was talking to you a little bit before we started recording, but something that's been on my mind is like, I've been working with interns, and right now is kind of like we just finished an internship group. Now is the season of new interns coming in and starting their internship experience. And something that I always get asked from people that I don't know their name or anything, is, hey, I've seen your work. Can you be my mentor?
Ah,
And I'm flattered, at the fact that they've approached me and they want to go ahead and um, seek advice and on how to improve themselves and everything like that. And I love that. But I just feel like mentorship happens organically.
yeah.
The best mentorship relationships happen organically, and so I've had fantastic previous mentees who I still keep in touch with. And then I've had those who I see them for assignments and we deliver, you know, adequate feedback to each other. We dialogue about the work, and then we never talk to each other again until they reach out and they need something from me.
Right.
Um, and so I just think the idea, especially in our field, the idea of mentorship is something that's so interesting, and it tries to be forced when it doesn't have to be.
It's a weird, I think the gamut of what you spoke, you're still friends or you only talk when they need. I think that's fair and real and probably in many other professions. I experience the same of these people are now my really good friends. I want to just like talk with you and yeah, we still do mentorship stuff and uh but then I've had people, yeah.
But you said something that kind of invoked something for me, but that's also true. Like the people that I see as my mentors are some of my closest friends,
Exactly.
just happen to be colleagues. And I don't mean, this is going to sound odd, but I was good friends with the teachers that I had in the program that I went to. And
Right.
I don't mean to like say like I was a teacher's pet because I wasn't, but somehow or another, I guess maybe like subconsciously, I knew that eventually these people who are teaching me are either one going to be my consumers or two are going to be my peers.
Colleague, right?
Yeah, and so I knew that I one was going to get to know them regardless, even if I tried to stop it. And so even the people that taught me did become my peer as an interpreter and then became my peers as instructors. And to this day, like we still talk about the work and it always trips me up because there's a specific person that I'm thinking about who has been interpreting for as long as I've been alive, if not longer, and someone that is very well respected in the field, and is just an amazing interpreter, but left teaching, went back to freelancing, and I thought like it was so crazy that when they went back to freelancing, they hit me up and say, "Hey, can we talk about the business of interpreting? Because I've been out of the field for a while and I need to know what it is what's going on out in the
You're
field."
doing
And
it.
yeah, and so it like talk about role reversal, right? Because this person was a teacher of mine, but now seeing me as a colleague. So it doesn't just me seeing them as a colleague, but them also reverse seeing me as a colleague. Um, and again, that mentorship just happens naturally. And yeah, yeah.
But I feel like I worry that the organic, natural part of it developing sometimes doesn't. Where does that happen? Like, I'm working a lot of virtual right now. I'm not going to see people. I know so many people, a lot of interpreter colleagues will reach out and be like, "Do you have students? I need," like, they just don't have contact with these students, and students don't have contact with them. How do they find them? I also have a thought that you could be really good at interpreting and be a terrible mentor and be a terrible teacher. And you can be not a great interpreter skill wise, but be really good about talking about the work or talk like, so I don't know that we're all supposed to be mentors.
We're not. And I'm here to tell you we're not. But they're like but seriously, and the reason why I say that is because even during my internship experience, I had fantastic mentors. And I had a couple where it was like, this has not been the best experience. But looking about it now, back at it now, because hindsight is 2020, right? I can see those experiences and can take away from it by saying, that's not what I'm going to do when I have my mentees.
That's exactly what I wrote down is I think students should need to see bad interpreters, skill
Mhm.
wise, boundary wise, professional wise. They need to see areas where you're like, oh, are we supposed to do that? Like they need to see the other end to realize what they want to do or not want to do.
Right. Absolutely. And and I tell this to all of the mentees that I work with. You're going to see some really great interpreters work and do some things that you're like, that's not what we learned in class.
Right.
But trust that they're making a decision based off of their experience and the setting that they're in. There's a reason for why they're doing the things that they do. Likewise, on the opposite side of the spectrum, you're also going to see some interpreters that are doing some things that aren't exactly very um advocacy sort of framed as accomplishing sort of framed for the deaf individual. Maybe they're taking over for the deaf person or whatnot. So you're going to see the entire gamut, but you need to see that because you need to say, oh, that's what I want to do.
Yes.
I know definitely not to do that,
Right.
and that's what part of being an intern is about, being able to see all of that.
But the hard part is, I think it's clear what the yay, 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 that's good, and the ooh, ooh, that's bad. And there's a lot of gray that we, even as professionals, are like, mm, I don't know. And then a student extra layer of, oh, is that correct? And I talked with a few students who've been interpreting for 2 years now or something. And she had a great Ivy. She had a great point of like, what does the deaf community say about this type of thing? What does experienced interpreters say? What do my peers say? And then what do I feel about it? And I'm like, yes, take all of the pieces and then you got to figure it out for yourself. Like I can give you all of my thoughts, but you have to figure out what helps you sleep at night, what makes you feel okay leaving a situation and doing in that
There,
situation.
I went to a workshop, this was years ago, and it had to involve ethics. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about this presenter that I've actually started including in my workshops when I teach ethics is when we do that group discussion about ethical situations, is they always put a chair that was empty into the circle and it was meant to be kept empty. And when people asked why, the response was you always want to keep a chair empty for the perspective that you never thought about.
Well, I love that.
And it's so profound because there are so many perspectives that we don't think about. And in a workshop that I teach, I always say ethical decision making is not a everybody walks away happy. People have to compromise, and there is someone that is going to get, in some way, shape, or form, the short end of the stick. And maybe that's all of us, maybe that's one person, but that's just that's just part of it. And so I like Ivy's example about trying to take it all in and then how do I feel about it because I'm going to walk away with feelings about it and it's
Yeah.
not just something that I toss out the door. Maybe I go into my truck and I cry. Maybe I go into my truck and I yell or what have you. We're in those situations a lot.
And what I'm struggling with is I've been teaching or doing a like CASLI prep courses, and one of them is the ethical portion to like help people kind of get prepped for the written part of the test. And people want answers. People are like, "So what is the right answer?" And I'm like, "One, I don't know the test itself. I can't, and if I did, I couldn't tell you." But like, I think what we need to do is figure out how to think, figure out how to talk through it, reason through it, and figure out the best possible thing we can do. Sad or unfortunately, that happens in matter of seconds or minutes while we're on the job.
Mhm.
But when it comes to a test form, it's really hard when you have to pick A, B, C, or D. And there's no explanation. There's no, it's, and so part of me has a hard time with doing a test in that way. Why give ethical scenarios in that way when it used to be, let me explain in sign? But that's super, I always mix up subjective and objective. That's really objective
Mhm.
versus then a test, I can grade it. Give me, you have the words opposite.
Yeah.
Thank you. See,
Yeah. I completely agree
you're
with
right.
you. And
Subjective.
there's two things that came to mind right now. One is learning from an individual, Bill Ross, who's currently in Florida. He teaches an ethics workshop. And one of the things that I really like that he says is it's not about making a right or wrong decision, it's about making a right decision and then a potential more right decision.
Oh, I like that. And
And
that's
so
what a test feels like.
exactly. Which brings me to my next point. And maybe people will disagree with me on this, and if you do, that's fine. But I don't agree that CASLI has an ethics portion on the test.
Like, period, or just the way they're doing it.
Period. And
Interesting.
and the reason why is because I was a product of the current, or not the current, I was a product of the previous iteration of the test where my
Mhm.
ethics was tested on. But I will tell you, the interpreter that I was when I got certified with my NIC 2021 is completely different than the one that you see right now in 2025. And even then, the interpreter from yesterday is different than the one from today. And so to grade me
Right.
on ethical values that one time, right,
At
like
this moment. But what else do they do then? Then what is a solution? Because I got asked that too. The BEI doesn't test ethics.
no, but they do require that you go to ethical workshops
Right.
through time. And I think that's wise because our ethics do change over time. I mean, this country is not the same from when it
Lord.
was 50 years ago,
10 years ago.
10
Lord have
years ago.
mercy.
Right. And so things change, and with it, people change, and we have to adjust, we have to adapt. And I think one of the things that BEI does very well is by saying you need to keep up 20 hours worth of ethical CEUs every single 5 years. And I think that encourages, if not forces, those ethical discussions that need to be taking place so that we can continue hearing perspectives, so that we can continue talking about the work and improving the work versus a one-time snapshot of my ethics from when I was so and so years old.
Right. I don't know the answer of to test you in this moment. Maybe not even calling it ethics, but like, do you know the CPC? Do you know even just general, like testing us on the professional aspect of our work and how we should quote unquote behave and show up? But you're right. Like the to me, the only way to stay on top of and be quote unquote an ethical interpreter is to have constant conversations because every situation is going to change. And it just made me think of an example that I'm gonna censor as much as I possibly can because it's my private information. But basically, I've been interpreting medical and I see the same person multiple times. In every appointment, every time, more personal information they share. And it was very personal, and they were very alone and very scared in what was happening. And I happened to share the same type of experience in some ways. And so by fifth appointment, by sixth appointment, we had a moment, and I told this client, I share the same thing you're going through. And then, and we connected, and I go, was that too much? Should I not have? Have I ever before shared this with a no? Did I cross the line? Did they even want to know? And in that moment, it felt they reacted in a way that was comforting and they felt that very comforted that I shared. But I'm always keeping in mind, I'm like, this isn't for them to hold. Why the hell would I share this? So I might cut this out, but it's just I'm sure you've done the same. I think we've all done the same where we share a little bit about ourselves because it's a vulnerable fucking moment for everybody.
I I think as humans we starve for connection and for belonging. And
Yes.
so I'm going to give a short anecdote as well. It wasn't too long ago that I went and I interpreted a funeral for a friend of mine who passed away. Um, and when I went to go give my condolences to the family, um, I said, "Hey, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I knew this individual." And as someone who just lost someone from the exact same thing, I know what you're going through. And I will tell you, their eyes lit up
I
because
know
they
that's,
finally felt understood.
I
And
know.
I don't know what called me to say that, but I'm glad that I said it because at that moment, like it opened up the door for us to connect. And yes, you're right. I don't know you, you don't know me, but you know what I just went through, and it was fucking hard. And to have that ability to share that with someone, I was one of the last people that left the funeral because we just talked about
Right.
the experiences that we just went through together, you know? I mean, separately, but similarly. Um,
Right.
and there's just a moment of comfort. So to say like, I don't tell people this, you know, and especially like someone that you know in a professional setting and someone random,
Right.
sometimes that's what's needed.
Is it, this is what I'm questioning about myself, not about you. Was it selfish of me to say that to them? But I didn't say it on appointment number one. I said it on appointment number eight or, later when I felt like we knew each other more. And I just, and I had the whole conversation in my head of, should I say this right now, Andrea? I don't know. And I honestly have a few deaf friends coming on an episode and I want to ask them. And literally every deaf person is different, 100%. But
Sure.
like, does that feel like too much? Or do you welcome that connection because you're alone and you haven't yeah, I don't know. This is a very recent thing for me that I've struggled with and I think you're feeling the same.
There's a lot to unpack about that.
I know.
And I think one of the things is like one, you know, we know through our work in this field that information is not widely shared to deaf people, and that's not fair. And
Right.
so because I'm able to withhold it or to have this information about what I just went through,
That.
we all want to connect. And you said something just a little while ago, like Was it selfish of me to share? I would turn it around. Would it have been selfish of you not to share
To
that?
not share that this, yeah, this is a true parking lot debrief because this is like legit what I stood in the parking lot with another with Kirk like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago and told him I was like, am I an idiot? Did I just do something? And it's a judgment call we all make on every single job.
It is, but you're right. It is 100%. And I also think like I'm not deaf. Unless something happens to my hearing, I will never be deaf. I don't use interpreters unless I need to in spoken language and all of that jazz. So I don't know what their experience is, especially that individual going through what they're going through.
Right.
However, I can't help but think that you sharing that to them maybe gave them not, maybe perhaps gave them a little bit more ability to trust you more
That's yes.
with the situation that they're in because you get it.
Well, and this is more on a funny note, but like I interpreted years ago for someone giving birth. And so, in those moments, we see everything, literally everything. And as a joke later, I wrote her a fake coupon and I was like, you're welcome to come to the birth of my child. And you can see everything you want because I got to be so involved in, and I just want you to know,
That's hysterical.
like you can come stare at me. Like I just I don't know. I always want to make sure that I'm not here judging, I'm here to just do my job well, that we care. And sometimes all of that feels great and sometimes I hate hypothetical and I really wish we had a deaf person to ask all this to. Like I sometimes I'm sure they just want you to be like, "Can you just shut the fuck up and do your job?"
And I've had those. I've had
Right.
those people
Okay.
who just
Yes.
I don't really need that. I need you to just do your job, which is fine to each their own.
Yes.
But I will also say that I am me. Like, I
I
hate
know.
the philosophy of like I'm the unnecessary evil in the room. I get it. You don't want me in your business, 100%. But I'm
Right.
also a person, and there's no way that you can ignore me.
Right.
So part of that, part of that is me being who I am
And I have a heart.
and having a heart. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, this
Yeah.
got good. This got deepy. Do we want to climb out of the deep end? Is there any? Yeah, I don't know.
I
What
don't
else
know.
is going
We went
on?
from we went from mentoring to
I know. How did we end up to seeing people naked? So yeah, mentoring. How else is it supposed to happen organically?
I honestly think it happens through a couple of ways. I think a lot of times people don't understand the fact that your reputation starts yesterday,
Honestly.
especially in this field. And so I know for me, and again, it's because I'm so close to the program that I graduated from, I taught at, and I now mentor students from. I know I see a lot of ASL students, which is fantastic. Like you said, it's a great refresher. But I also see the other side of those things.
Well, I see you before you're about to be my team, and
Yeah. And do I want to associate myself with something like that? Because yes, your reputation is your reputation, but if you're now with me, like they now see us together.
yes.
And one of the things that I say in a workshop that I teach at is that hearing people and deaf people don't see us individualistically, they see us collectively. So if one interpreter is late, all the interpreters are late. If one
Yes.
interpreter did something bad,
Of
all
course.
interpreters did something bad. And so that extends to, I mean, if we're going to get CPC, I mean, it extends to one of the tenets of the CPC. Students and interns are part of the profession and we have to respect them. Likewise, it has to go the other way around. Um, and so if any students are watching this, we see what you post on social media. We see the things and pictures that you post on there. And deaf people see that, and agency owners see that. And just know that those things do get checked. And we hear the things that you say.
Or
And I,
even just go ahead. Sorry.
and I was going to say, and even I know that this field can be catty. Boy, do I know that this field can be catty. But talking shit about your teachers or talking shit about interpreters is not the way
To
to make
me,
yeah.
right? To You do that to your classmate you know you can trust. I do that with Jose, not even in text, not even on Marco Polo. You do that in person so that doesn't get
Right.
anywhere else. Like you are careful when you talk shit if you want to talk about something.
And this is not to like promote talking shit. It's not
No,
about that
but
because we sometimes
right,
you have to get it off your chest.
right. But don't do it. And I thought of a thing of like, you're right. I have had to have those conversations where I'm like, I have a good reputation. I'm a good interpreter. And what I uphold is being on time, doing my job well, doing it professionally. And if you, as a student, come in and taint that, you're not allowed to come. If you show up late and the meeting runner is like, "Who is Mary coming in?" You have showed up late, and now it looks bad on me. You can't come to any more. I don't even
And
give more than one chance. Yes.
looks bad.
Right. And it's disruptive and it looks bad on everybody. So I'm a very kind person and very patient and very like understanding, but not when it comes to that. I've noticed I'm like, you're nope, next. There's plenty of other students and people who want to do this and show up on time and do well. No, I'm
I'm right there with you because I have had students who come and observe us work, and I personally like to pre-conference with them before we even go into the job.
yes.
And so if you're not available for the pre-conference, how do I know that you're going to be available for the assignment and for a post-conference
Post.
too?
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
that's
mentoring.
go
No, I
ahead.
got nothing. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's something that's been interesting that's been happening as of late. Give me one second.
Mhm.
Is going into a job because this has been happening recently. Going into a job with not being told that I'm being observed by an observer.
Really? I
Yeah,
don't ever get that.
it's happened to me a couple of times.
Interesting.
And I've had to come back to the agency to say, hey, I don't mind that someone's watching me. As a matter of fact, I welcome it. However, it would be nice to give a heads up. And then also, if this person's going to observe me, fine, but you can sure as hell bet that I want to talk to them after we're
Well,
done.
yeah.
But that doesn't sink into the minds of some people. Like I have had, which is this is why like that post conference is so detrimental because oftentimes I will do something in my work, whether it be into ASL or going into spoken English, and they'll walk away with, oh, that's the sign for that, or oh, that's the English translation for that. And it's like, no, 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 baby.
Let me
Let me
explain.
explain why we made those choices.
Yes.
Because the last thing I want is for them to take that and then try to force it or apply it to a job when it
When,
has no business doing in that job.
right. You don't know that this deaf person uses this sign, so that's why we use this sign, but other settings we will not use this sign, like that type of thing. Same. Oh, I insist on, oh my God, capstone as he signs hat rock. Like things like that. Like in this setting, I will use it. Anywhere else, I will not.
Right.
Oh, you need to talk to me afterwards, and I need to have a genuine conversation of what you observed. Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested. Mentoring has been interesting. Yeah.
I also think mentoring, because we talk about, like, we've talked about people coming to observe us, and everything like that. I also think, and this is maybe just my Jose's perfect world of mentoring, I don't necessarily believe in the whole I I'm an interpreter. I have my interpreting team, and then we're bringing along a mentee. I don't believe in that. The way how I was brought up in the interpreting world was there's an interpreter. I am that interpreter's team. I am like as the mentee, I am part
Mm.
of the interpreting job. I I think that if someone is gonna go into a practicum, if someone is gonna go into an internship, you are claiming I can do this job. I have the training, I have
Ooh.
the skills.
Even new babies,
Even new, I mean,
students.
yeah, because think about it. When you're finished with school, you're still a new baby. You're still a student
Yeah. Well, and you're right. If they didn't even have the capacity yet to comprehend, like we get I sometimes get ASL students to observe, and I'm like, this makes no sense to you right now.
at all.
So I understand what you mean of like you should at least have the capacity to somewhat be able to do this job a little bit
Yeah.
versus like nothing sticks in my brain because I don't even know what's happening. Like we can't get into these conversations with if someone who's too new. So I understand. Okay, that point I get.
I've been very fortunate that I've had an intern with me for the last couple of semesters that I've been working with the college. And so, first day, I tell my internship right out the bat, do you want to do 15s or do you want to do 20s? And some mentors are not like that. Some are like, okay, well, I'll give you 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll see how you feel. You have told me that you are ready to go ahead and take on this job. And so while I understand like in a regular interpreting assignment where if you and I were assigned 50%, 50%, we make an entire product. And I get like as a mentor, I am taking on full 100% responsibility of the assignment.
Yes.
And if something needs to be relayed differently or if I need to take over, I will absolutely take over. I take that responsibility as a mentor. But I'm also recognizing the fact that this is a huge monumental step for you in your career. And you need to learn.
I do it.
You need to struggle, right?
I do it.
You have to. And
Yeah.
so I very upfront, like, let's start with 20s. And if the content is way too deep, we'll go down to 15s. And after this is done, let's talk. Is the content too much? Is the speed too much? Does the teacher have a heavy accent where we need to narrow it down? Like, I have those conversations in the post conferencing, but I take their input into consideration when I go and work. Um, and that's because, like, eventually, like I said, you're going to be my peer.
I was going to say now's the time to kind of flounder because I'm here to throw the life raft when otherwise we both may be floundering or both, yeah. Um,
It's, it's, it rubs me the wrong way when, when I meet interns who are like, oh, I don't really want to do that job because I don't really feel like it. Or, oh, I don't want to do that job because I don't want to wake up early. Or,
I don't really want to work into English. Well, bless
right,
you. Good luck. Do
that's
deaf
half the
people not
job.
have comments? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it does because it's like you're in your internship and practicum. Now is the time for you to try everything because you have supervision.
yes,
You
now.
have supervision right now. Like take everything that you can and be that fucking sponge
Yes.
because
And it's
it,
scary.
it's
Absolutely.
yes, but like revel in that fear a little bit.
Yes. Because that fear is going to be a different type of fear once you graduate.
Or when you find yourself in my position and you're
Right.
now mentoring the next generation.
Right.
We've talked about like how you and I can't do this forever.
I talked with Tiffany Hill about that. She was just saying like I felt like I need to do the things and be the interpreter, and then she goes, I feel like I'm now in a more teachery, mentory feel, but then I want to move away from that and then start leaving things for others to then and I was like, yeah, I feel that. I feel we're still both pretty hands-on mentory, but like we would like to leave something that like legit helps people, and you do that in your teaching and workshops and in that with this podcast and things like that. But I would really like something that like makes things better for interpreters, which then makes things better for deaf people.
Completely agree. And if I can take all the lessons that I've learned from all the mentors that I've had, from the teachers that I've had, from the deaf consumers that I've interpreted for, and I can just give one small little nugget to the person that I'm working with, then my career has been a success.
Right. Yeah. What else has been on your mind, or what else is new in this?
Honestly, testing has been on my mind.
Like certification testing?
Hmm.
Why?
Yeah, mainly because even though I'm only 25, I am not on the socials like a lot of my other colleagues are. But one thing that I am mainly on a lot is on Facebook. And maybe that's showing my 25
As I
years.
say, say that you're an old 25-year-old on that Facebook.
I tend to stay on Facebook because that's the most popular one that deaf people are on.
There's a lot of information shared there for sure.
And it's easy to make group pages and for people to give information to each other. It is a really good resource.
Yes, Mom.
And so, yeah, you're welcome.
I'm just
And,
kidding.
and so, being able to be part of those groups introduces a lot of different topics that are being discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And one that I have seen discussed a lot, especially over, and maybe it's over like the last couple of months, has been results and certification testing and people's frustration. Frustration is so real. I get it. I completely get it. Um, the EIPA is taking a long time to give back results. CASLI
Yeah.
is taking a long time to get back results. Even BEI is taking some time to give back results. Um, and so it's difficult to maintain patience when time is working against you. Completely get it.
And
But,
money and
and
all of
money,
it.
right. And money, and you've just gone through this entire education system, which interpreter education is
That's a
a
whole other podcast.
whole other podcast because
Yep.
yeah, we'll
We
have
could
to
go
talk
on
about
that.
it. Really good. Um, but I get that you've had this whole being raised in education where you go take a test, you get your results now. You go take a test, you get your results now. Going into this, you go take a test. Okay, we'll give you your results once we're done evaluating it. I get that. And then when people don't get the results that they really want or are expecting to get, they empty out their frustrations for every single person to see. And then that incites more frustrations from other people who are experiencing the same thing. And then before you know it, it becomes this huge bonfire that's out of control of people just,
What? Social media does that? What?
yeah, surprise,
Get
surprise.
off Facebook. I mean, that is, yes. I will say I'm not a rater for any of these tests,
Either.
and I don't know what that weight of that responsibility feels like. I would like to. I'm very curious. I'd love to see behind the curtain, but I can say I know some people who have passed, and I'm like, huh. And I know some people who have worked test after test and have not passed the NIC or, the next level of BEI. And I'm like, but damn, you're good. So, like, I don't know how we're supposed to give these certifications to people from a hour-long test of their career. Like, I don't know the answer.
I don't really know an answer either. I also feel like this is gonna sound really ugly. I also feel like people go and they test, and when they don't get the result or they don't pass, they're always like, "But I work as an interpreter, and they understand me, and blah 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 blah." And it's like they're maybe
Do
they,
they though?
yeah, like maybe they're understanding you because they're working really hard to understand.
Yes. You
Um,
think we can't monitor our own ASL unless we're watching videos of ourselves.
right.
We cannot monitor the output of our ASL. That's why we struggle or uh, don't feel nervous about working into a spoken English is because we can monitor the garbage words that we say and it sounds weird. So agreed. We
Yeah,
don't know how bad we are. We also don't know how good we are sometimes, but we don't know how bad we are because deaf people do a lot of work for us.
they do. And I had someone who in my internship gave me a really good piece of advice. Um, and it kind of changed my frame of thinking of how I approach the work. But a deaf person's job is never to go into an assignment and have to reinterpret your interpretation.
Lord.
If that happens, give them some of your paycheck
Seriously.
because they're just supposed to come in, take the information, understand it, and then
Which is
leave.
a tall order for an interpreter.
Exactly, but you're saying that you can do the job if you've accepted it. So at the same time,
But
you're
I might show up and I can't read their mind. I can't like I'm just saying that it is hard. It's a hard job. And all the time I might not be understood. Maybe they have to figure stuff out. But agreed. I think it's those interpreters or it's the deaf people who have to can't have to figure out everything you're signing. That's the big part.
But also realizing that there's a difference between is the deaf person not understanding because of how I'm interpreting it, or are they not understanding because it's the information that they're not understanding? Because if it's me, then I'm not fulfilling the order. But if it's the information that they're not understanding, then person whoever's giving the information through me is not fulfilling the order. So being able
Well,
to recognize that there's a separation with that.
there is, and my biggest thing I tell students and when I work with newer interpreters is listen to something, interpret it. Don't look at that recording for 2 weeks. Pull that recording out. You know what I'm talking about. Turn
Mhm.
off the source English language and watch yourself. Does it make sense? And then you'll see where those little things you didn't do, or those little things you did do, oh, that helped with clarity. Oh, that helped with seeing, making the picture more clear. Um, and then voice for yourself, my
Mhm.
friend. So we don't know what it's like to sit in that seat, not hear the source information. Yeah, friends, y'all don't want to go to workshops where it's presented in ASL. Why? I understand English, at least is my first language, but a spoken language is a first language. And maybe we feel more comfortable taking information in that way. Yeah. But yeah, if a deaf person or a hearing person who's presenting and doesn't sign it clearly, we don't get the information.
Right.
That's what deaf people go through. And in English, my ears can take that. We can take broken English or English that's not perfectly clear and make sense of it because it's my first language for me. And that's what I got to work. That's what deaf people are doing.
I
The
mean,
work.
that happens to me when I go sometimes to a workshop that's in ASL and I don't 100% understand the topic. You have to really like pause and think for a second. I don't understand what's being said. And like sometimes it happens subconsciously, like I don't understand what's being said. I play with my phone or I look away for a moment and I
Yes.
distract myself. But
This
like
is what's
again,
happening.
what is happening? Right. Look at what's happening. That's what deaf people experience sometimes
Yes.
when they're looking at an interpreter who's not making any sense.
You know how we hate watching hearing presenters present in ASL, ourselves included, sometimes because I'm not a native user of ASL. So I may lean more English, which may help you. But if I don't, I drop some information. I don't do the little things that deaf people do who have a grasp on the language, and it doesn't quite make sense.
And
Exactly.
and even for someone like you and me who do immerse ourselves in the community, because I still go to deaf events to this day,
Yep.
um, even that as comfortable as I am with ASL, because of all three languages, my first language that I learned is now my tertiary language. It's not one that I'm the most
Right.
comfortable with, but English and ASL are ones that I work into quite heavily. I'm still never going to be able to reach that nativeness, reach that ability to express myself the way that a deaf person can. As much as
Right.
I wish I could, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So yeah, people being frustrated with tests, like I get it. And but I feel like the frustration with Casley, mostly because of the major changes constantly, then you're like, I don't even trust this. But I like BEI is solid to me. And I've got some folks coming from the BEI advisory board to talk about the BEI. Um, and the one thing that he had said was like, are you performing at that level? And I'm like, what a great, are you making sense at the level of which basic, advanced, and master should be?
So many things to say about that. So I'm very much team BEI, very
Yes.
much team BEI. And it might be because I am in a place where it's BEI country.
Mm-hmm.
However, as solid as the test is, I also think, and I don't know the inner workings of BEI, I don't, but I also think that an in, an evaluation like that needs to be constantly updated. And if it's not constantly updated, then we run into issues with validity and reliability of the test. Now, granted, the BEI that the current iteration of the BEI has stood up in court, it's been defended, and everything like that. I just hope, and I can't say this because I'm not actively testing right now, but I just hope that BEI is keeping up with the times by
Right.
making new stimulus
Right.
that is appropriate for all three levels. Now, you said something about the three levels. I'm about to get on a soapbox.
Climb on up. Get up there.
As someone, and again, it relates to testing and frustrations, as someone who started off with their BEI basic as a certified interpreter, because BEI basics are certified interpreters, I was a basic for 6 years and I tested actively for my advanced, and I failed the advanced test 4 times before I got my advanced on the fifth time.
Yep.
And again, hindsight is 2020, right? So was I prepared for the test? Was I ready for the test? And here's where I'm getting on my soapbox. Am I ready for the amount of responsibility that comes with the certification level that I have? Am I ready for the expectations that deaf people have of me as a representative of that certification level that I have for the test? And I
Right.
feel like a lot of people don't put to mind that responsibility and expectation because as I will tell you, the first time that I took my advanced, I had no business going into that test at all.
And you were like, damn it, I didn't pass. And you're like, well, I was not supposed to. Like, this
Yeah.
is for encouragement. This is not to put people down. This is more of an
Oh.
encouragement of it's okay to not be ready. Like,
And think twice about it because the entity that I was working for sent me to go take the test and I told them I wasn't ready and they're like, too bad, they already cashed the check, go take the test. So I did and I bombed it. Of course I bombed it. But I walked away knowing like that's doable. I can work to that. And it helped me prepare myself for the next couple of times that I decided to donate to BEI and and take the test. Um, but I will tell you, each time that I went to go take the test, I wasn't ready for the amount of responsibility and expectation. Because in my opinion, and maybe this is an opinion that isn't shared by all, but in my opinion, if you have an advanced or a master or even a basic, you are saying that on your sickest day, on your worst day possible, you
yeah,
are still able to pull out basic, advanced, or master level work.
right. On your
And so
worst day, correct.
on your worst day, right. And
Right.
so deaf people make requests for certain level tests or for certain level interpreters.
Hmm.
And so if they say, I want a master level interpreter, and if you're not at that level, you just went to go take the test and surprise you passed and you're not able to perform at that level, think of the disservice that you're giving to that deaf person. And a lot of people are going to say, well, that's just something that's wrong with the test. No, no, not necessarily. We all
Or
have,
don't, and people are like, well, then I won't take that type of work. And I'm like, but it will be offered.
it
It will be
will.
asked of you. And you, great if you don't take it. Like, that's a good, you need to also know yourself. Because as a master in NIC, I definitely am not taking all work. I
Same.
have that certification, but that does not mean I know how to do everything.
Right. I have my advanced and my NIC, and my advanced tells me that I can do mental health settings and I can do those types of environments. I will tell you, they are not my favorite place to work, and
Right.
I don't like doing them. Can I do them? Sure, but I'm still very selective as far as the type of work that I'm doing. Um, and also know that you will be asked, like you said, because there's a certain level of expectation for you to take on those types of jobs.
Right.
I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm just going to go test and see what the test is like. I'm not expecting to pass. And then they do. And then they turn in a brand new rate sheet to the agency expecting to get that sort of level pay,
Right.
but you're not willing to do the jobs that you've been tested for the deaf
And I
people.
like people that go just see what the test feels like. Like that does feel like a legit, like, let me see, but you're right. If you pass, like, oh shit. Like now in teaching and mentoring people for the NIC that I'm like, I've said it on here before too, like Spider-Man with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
And I had this conversation with Ivy and Jessica and Jaylee of NIC and the new generation's view of the NIC is that's the first door to walk through. That is, and I said, that used to be the goal in 10 years that I saw it way down the road. And they're like, oh no, now the view is you're fresh out of school. Like that's the time to take it. And I'm like, shit, what? And they said, and then continue to learn. And I'm like, yeah, but like that, if I didn't know it was an entry level thing. To me, my view is still not, it's not an entry level thing, but like, who knows?
It's funny because I do see it as an entry level thing.
Really?
Yeah, because here where I'm from, an NIC is an entry level test.
It's not like
It's
I
an
got to
entry
do
level
some years of
certification.
work. And man, that's like top dog right there. No, what's top dog then? See, maybe this is just my view that's wrong.
No, where I'm from, a master is seen as a top dog.
Right. BEI in some areas, absolutely. And I do feel that NIC is equivalent to advanced, and the master is a damn good test and a hard test.
I agree with you about the master being a hard test and a damn good test. I also agree with the advanced being a hard test and a good test. Same thing could be said for the basic, but I see the NIC as equivalent to a
So
basic. I
basic.
don't see it
No
as
way. See, and I love people's perspective because I'm so very curious because I say, go ahead.
but that's also with the caveat that I took the old iteration of the NIC. I do not know what the new NIC looks like. I'm not going to be able to take it because Casley says no, that I can't take it.
Right.
But with the test that I took back in 2021, I walked out thinking, oh, it's definitely here.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
I took the NIC in 2009. So like it was on VHSs, my friend. So like
What's a VHS?
exactly. It
Just-
says the guy on Facebook. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just so fascinated by the view of what all this meant. What did CICT mean to people before? Like, I mean, it's all over the place of, and to me, the one constant has been a BEI. Like, these mean what they mean. But yeah, that's certification's a hot topic because money's been a hot topic because
I wish I could take the old CICT.
yeah, I'm very same. I wish these were available just to like see how we measure up.
Right. I would love to just see what that would look like. And
And it's so interesting that it was differentiated into actual certificates versus I know we do the work of all, but like I only have the transliteration button. I can't actually like that's so interesting to me.
it is very interesting because I know people who are only CT or who are only CI,
What?
only mainly only who are only CT, but they do interpret. And so,
Right, you're still interpreting an ASL.
right. It's fascinating. It's
Fascinating.
fascinating. It's fascinating. And
We
I
no,
also
go.
think because I don't know what the current iteration of the test is, and this is maybe another topic for another podcast as far as what's included on the tests. But like with the old iteration of the NIC, I didn't see a transliterating portion of it.
Mm.
It was only solely focused on ASL, which, okay, but there's also a huge gamut of deaf people that I work with who are very much receptive transliteration
Oh
consumers,
yes.
and I expressively transliterate to them. Um, and that's not something that's tested on, at least in my experience with the old NIC iteration, that I really wish was, because it's a skill set that we do, and an interpreter, a transliterator makes you not.
Right. Um, this has been a true parking lot debrief.
It
We
really
are
has.
It's the best though. And I'm like, do people care to listen to this shit? But like it's I don't know. If y'all are still here, thanks. But like it's more of I feel like when people listen, they go, yeah. And it's the conversations they're having too. Like this is literally all this podcast is conversations that others are having. But we are up in an hour. We're welcome to keep talking if you have other things you want to talk about. Um, and then I forgot to tell you. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe we should save some of that content for next
Yes. And
podcast.
that's my hope. I did want to bring this up. I would hope to have Jose and true, like, you're a true friend, like, actual friend, come back who I'm comfortable with that, like, we can easily just jive and talk and have someone constantly come back and maybe talk about current things or I don't know. I just have a new guest all the time and I can't find a rhythm. So maybe you will be my rhythm.
Love
And
that.
that'd be fun. And I forgot to warn you, it's on the spread on the sheet here, but you have to come up with it in the split second here or I'll pause it. I like to highlight deaf owned businesses and deaf organizations at the end and have the guest pick one. So I'll keep talking slow. I think you've got one in mind. Go ahead.
I do have one in mind. The one that I would probably want to highlight the most is in Austin, Texas. It's Crepe Crazy.
Oh,
I don't know if anyone's mentioned that one yet.
no, I love it and I miss it so much.
I love Crepe Crazy. And the reason why I mention it is because people who fly into Austin to take their BEI
Yes.
need to hit up Crepe Crazy. You need
Yes.
to hit up Crepe Crazy. Um, I always feel like I always feel like so much better after I go and I visit because I tell them all the time, like, when are y'all gonna make some more locations? Because
What is it though? Tell me.
oh,
I don't
sorry.
know.
So, yeah, I should like, what is it? Crepe Crazy is a deaf-owned business. It's a restaurant where they make crepes, and there's savory crepes, there's breakfast
Oh,
crepes, there's sweet crepes, and the food is just so delicious. It's to die for. Um, I always get my inner fat boy on, and I order sometimes two or three
yes, you
crepes.
get the savory and the sweet
I
and a
do.
little salad, and they've got delicious drinks. And everyone who's there
All of
signs.
all of their employees are deaf. All of
Yes,
their employees are deaf,
the best.
and they take to-go orders through VRS,
Oh,
and it's great. And the people there are always so friendly. And I can't recommend it enough. I like going to Crepe Crazy. And so, if anybody is coming into Austin, whether
great.
to visit for South by Southwest or to come and test or Austin City Limits, whatever, if you find yourself in Austin, please hit up Crave Crazy. They are on Lamar Boulevard, I believe,
They are. I
on South
lived
Lamar.
literally behind that building.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
you did.
all the time.
You
And my
did.
favorite was to bring my parents or my friends who did not sign and me not interpret.
Yeah,
And they figure this out and they all figured out and it's the most beautiful experience. I'm so glad you brought that one up because I no one has and I forgot about that.
I'm overdue for a visit. I need
Uh,
to go. I need to go visit. I need to go to Austin for a variety of other things, but mainly I need to go hit up Crave Crazy because it's just so damn good.
this has been fun. I hope people enjoyed. We kind of ran the gamut of all the things and this is how we talk to each other a
All
couple
the time.
times a month. Like this is what we do. So,
Unless
yeah,
we're in person, then we hug and cry.
and we hug and cry because we haven't seen each other in a while. But I believe Jose will be back. We just have really great conversations and we've got really great, I don't know, real shit to talk about. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And just remember, folks, we are just two people with two opinions, and that does not mean it is the law or that is even correct. It is just our where we're at. So
Always open to learn.
that's right, please. Thanks so much. You'll be back.
Appreciate